taking testosterone or anabolic steroids or things like that, for these young guys who are just getting started, there's no need to take.
How we can just naturally enhance performance.
There's plenty of things to focus on. I think it all comes down to the core components: training but not overtraining, adequate rest, appropriate supplementation.
I believe in doing certain supplements that are like creatine now.
There's about 50 years of science behind creatine monohydrate, and it has value for cognitive function, it has value for cardiac benefits, there's bone density, muscle building, it does a lot of things.
When you age, your body needs even more protein. As you go to your 40s and 50s and 60s, you actually need to take more protein because your body doesn't assimilate protein as well as you age.
As you increase your protein intake, you also increase your metabolism because it takes more calories to burn a gram of protein than it does to burn a gram of fat or hydrate. Supplements are for people who want to be extraordinary. If you want to do something substantial, if you want to build muscle, like, you're going to need supplements to be able to accomplish that. Whether they're natural or not, you're not going to be able to make the progress that you want without supplements.
Hey guys, Rich Gaspari here in another episode Beyond the Muscle. I have my guest host here, Andy Triggs from Renew Vitality, and this is going to be a great episode. This is going to be about natural performance enhancement. We talked on our other episodes about, everything from peptides to steroids to oral steroids to SARMs, but this is more going to be towards those natty guys that want to know what to do to gain lean muscle. And for anyone just starting out, you want to be able to have that natural performance enhancement. And this is another thing, even if you're taking this gear, testosterone, you want to do everything that you can to help gain lean muscle naturally. So some of the things that, I believe in is making sure you don't overtrain. There's a lot of other things to do, is make sure you get proper sleep, bring down that inflammation. Other things are, besides that, what do you think, Andy? You want to use other like high techniques like red light therapy, cryo therapy. There's so many things that we could talk about here, but the main thing is like, don't overtrain and make sure you're eating properly and taking the right type of supplements. If you could do all that in a perfect world, you're going to be able to gain naturally.
No, that's exactly right. And it's like the supplementation and natural options are applicable for someone who's natty or someone who's enhanced, regardless, because you need the building blocks of muscle, irrespective of whether or not you're taking testosterone or steroids or any kind of other, performance enhancing drugs. The core components of quality proteins, creatines, amino acids, EAAs, BCAAs, all of the different things that you can take, your fish oils, all of those things have value, mitigating inflammation, speeding recovery. All the stuff we're going to talk about today, all those things have value, irrespective of whether you're natural or not.
So let's start with training. So a lot of guys, they start out in the gym and they want to just they want to train every day, or they want bigger biceps and they're training their biceps every day or their triceps every day, and they think that they're going to grow. But the thing is you have to recover. You need rest of that muscle, and you have to know when you're training a muscle part that it also needs the rest to recover, and you also don't want to overtrain that muscle.
Well, that's exactly right. There's two things that are essential after you finish training, and one is to feed that muscle, and second is to give it time to regrow.
Yes.
You break down the muscle tissue, you create inflammation, but then subsequently you have to feed it properly and then give it time to build back bigger and stronger before you break it down again. And a lot of people, like you said, in pursuit of more muscle gains, will overtrain and end up creating issues as opposed to building muscle.
I see guys at the gym training like 7 days a week thinking that they're going to make gains, but they don't recover, where you only need maybe, for advanced. I train 5 days a week, but I'm more advanced. But most guys can get away with training 4 days a week because you're going to get more recovery training 4 days out of the 7 days. I believe in training a muscle to failure and not overtraining that muscle with the least amount of sets to get the most benefit. So I was explaining to you early off the show, I said, in a larger body part, I can get away with doing 9 to 11 sets in a large body part. Per a big body part like legs or chest or back, and I could do 6 to 8 sets on arms and get a great workout because they train that muscle optimally to failure.
Well, I think that's essential. It's like training to failure is the key, and there's a spot at which there's diminishing returns with everything, and I think that's a topic we touch on with regards to everything to be discussed, is that there's adequate training and there's excessive, and the whole point is to break down the muscle tissue, not to actually cause damage, not to damage the joint, not to train to the point of sloppy technique, but like good quality, clean reps to be able to produce failure. and lower the weight to be able to continue to exhaust the muscle. Drop sets are great, things like that. Like, but sloppy training and throwing weights around, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you want to avoid injury, but you want to exhaust the muscle. I think there's a happy medium between like that.
Listen,
and overtraining.
I do know when I was younger, I did lose form in training. It worked for me. I grew, doing, say, a row and swinging the weight. And it wasn't always perfect textbook form. And I get, shit from people that, I train sloppy. Although I've trained now, I changed my techniques, being older, I changed my techniques and I'm using more eccentric training. So I was able to do, say, a body part, say on a negative, you're doing legs, you're doing a leg press, you're coming down and I'm doing a 5 to 7 second negative or eccentric on that rep. Then I explode on the rep, on the positive or the concentric part of the movement. It really kills you because when you're doing 5 to 7 seconds, you're controlling that weight the entire time. You're using all the muscle fibers that you feel on that. I can do 12 to 15 reps. 20 reps is almost impossible to do. And then I do another advanced technique is I use static. So on the last rep of the last set, I could come down. I'm doing, I did 2 sets of leg press. I come down on that 5 to 7 seconds, then not all the way down where I'm relaxed, where I'm just down and you stop. And when you stop and then you do 7-second pause or a static lift, your legs start shaking doing that. You feel the blood gorging into your muscle and then you explode the rep out.
Well, no, exactly. That fills the muscles with blood. It also puts a different stress on the nervous system. It's like anytime you change your training, you're going to make the muscles have to adapt. And it's just yet another way to kind of trick your body into continuing to grow. And so by changing your training, adding more eccentric exercises is just another reason for your body to grow muscle and adapt to that unique style.
And what you said is like you can adapt something like drop sets, but these are all advanced training techniques, and you have to know that you can use a drop set on your last set of an exercise. You don't want to do it on every single exercise because you will overtrain doing, say, a drop set, because a drop set is basically doing a set with a weight that you can go. And especially if you're doing eccentrics, it's really hard to do a drop set because you're going real slow on that 10th rep. You drop the weight and you should try again to do a drop set. I kind of, when I got into this eccentric training, drop sets are kind of much harder to do because you're already to failure, especially if you do a static lift and then you want to try to get a lighter weight doing it. It's almost impossible.
You get a couple more reps at each progressive weight downward, but you get a few more reps and you really hit failure. And when you're done, you're done.
And then doing a superset, I like supersetting, say, like lats. I'll do a pullover supersetted with a lat pull down or a close grip lat pull down. So now you're exhausting it with that pullover and then going on to like a lat pull down with the eccentric. Great superset that you can feel.
And you pre-exhausted that muscle anyway with the prior exercise.
Yeah, with the prior exercise. So training that manner, you can only do much less sets. Like I said, you can get away with doing 9 sets on a larger body part and 6 sets on a smaller body part and train that muscle failure. Another advanced technique is doing a negative. So if you're doing a bench press, or let's say a machine bench press, because it's hard with a bar, you can kill somebody, and you're doing the bench, and then on, say you're doing 10 reps, on that 5th rep, you're doing eccentric, but now you're coming down and have somebody pushing on it, and you're resisting that push on that negative. You have a lot more strength on that negative, but when you're really pushing on it, you can get a muscle to go to failure. Probably on the 3rd rep, I could kill someone that I can just take my finger and push it down on that negative. Then you know that rep is exhausted. But the positive, you have to have an assistant to help push it up on that lift. But these are just advanced techniques that I use, in weight training. Let's get into other techniques to help increase lean muscle mass or increase performance. We talked about, supplementation. I believe in doing certain supplements that are like creatine now is like, to me, one of the most important supplements that I take. I was taking 5 grams. Now I'm up to 10 grams a day. They say that it actually goes into the muscle, but then to saturate it to your brain, you want to do like 10 grams a day.
There's about 50 years of science behind creatine monohydrate, and it has value for cognitive function. It has value for cardiac benefits. There's bone density, muscle building. The list of things that creatine monohydrate seems to do that are beneficial for you. And that's whether you're young or old. It's like male or female. It's like, I think you're right too, that the dosages continue to go up. 5 grams was like the baseline, but that number seems to be continuing to go up over time.
So how does it work? Just explain to the viewers How does creatine work? Because it helps increase ATP production, correct?
Well, it does a lot of things too. It also helps to fuel nutrients into the muscle as well. But the creatine has a positive effect on cognitive function. It seems to have a positive effect on memory. There may be some benefits mitigating cognitive decline.
I use creatine not only for muscle enhancement or helping with muscle, but also the brain. So it works. Reading the research, it helps with the mitochondria of the cell itself. So it's going to help increase ATP production. So it's helping get you more powerful lifts. Imagine now it helping with the brain cells. The brain cells itself, the mitochondria of the brain, is going to help you think better. It's going to help get rid of brain fog, all these different effects that creatine can have in it. And the research now shows instead of 5 grams, up to 10 grams of creatine a day.
No, absolutely. And I think that the higher dose is justified. There's been a ton of research into creatine, and you're right, not only does it help with ATP production, but it also helps to mitigate mitochondrial damage as well as reducing oxidative stress. So creatine just seems to be the gift that keeps on giving.
And so everything has to do with that mitochondria of the cell. That's like the powerhouse of the cell. If you can strengthen the mitochondria, you have so many benefits that you have for your body.
Absolutely.
The other supplement I like taking for recovery of muscle, it actually helps with gut health as well, is glutamine. I use up to 15 grams. I would recommend at least 10 grams of glutamine a day before and then after training, but you can use around 15 grams of glutamine. How do you like glutamine?
Glutamine is an essential supplement for bodybuilding, for recovery as well. Like glutamine, the benefits are endless. You can really overdose it. It's an inexpensive way to really augment your entire training program.
I mean, like I said, to me, it's so important. If you are a natty bodybuilder, you want to make sure you're taking your creatine. You want to make sure you're taking your glutamine. Of course, always getting a multivitamin. We talked earlier about chelated vitamins. Chelated B vitamins are just more bioavailable in your body. You really want a good multivitamin, multi-mineral.
I think you're absolutely right. The benefits of methylated B vitamins is imperative. There's a lot of science to show that these the methylated vitamins have better absorption, and they mitigate all kinds of other issues.
So they want to make sure you're taking a good multivitamin, multi-mineral, and we use like chelated minerals in my Anavite. So it just makes them more bioavailable.
Absolutely. No, and absorption is key because you could take as much of anything as you want, but if your body doesn't absorb it, then you're not getting all.
That's the thing. People take cheap supplements and they don't absorb well. Another important supplement is magnesium. I take it. You were talking earlier. If I was taking it, I take magnesium glycinate, yeah, and I take that before I go to bed. Helps you to sleep better. It keeps you relaxed. But there's so many studies showing that people are deficient in magnesium.
I think everybody's deficient in magnesium. It helps with cardiac function. Magnesium glycinate especially also seems to help with anxiety. It definitely helps you to wind down at the end of the day, and it's an essential electrolyte. It's like.
Another important supplement to take, vitamin D. 5,000 IUs. I take up to 10,000 IUs with a combination of K2. Always take those two together. They help with heart health, but they have a lot of benefits, even producing natural testosterone, taking a good amount of vitamin D.
Well, and so many people are vitamin D deficient. Like if we're down here in Florida right now, they say, oh, we have plenty of sunshine. Like even a majority of people in Florida are vitamin D deficient, even with the sunshine out. So it's like vitamin D is essential to take with K2, and the K2 you want to take is the MK7 version, the K in magnesium, and that optimizes, because the goal is you want to have calcium stored in the bones and not in the artery wall.
And that's the thing, people don't realize it. And you have hardening of the arteries. And one of the reasons of that is that calcium builds up in the artery walls. Now, if you take a K2, it'll help get rid of that calcium from the arteries to push it into the bones.
That's exactly what the K2 is for. And that's why it's so imperative to take together.
And you talk to these, it's funny, I talk to cardiologists, doctors, it doesn't work. Taking K2 doesn't have an effect to help, prevent cardiovascular disease, to have a hardening of the arteries. But I believe through some of the research out there that it does help, push or get rid of that calcium that could build up in the arteries to go into the bones.
No, if you're going to supplement with vitamin D, the K2 and the magnesium are imperative components, and it absolutely, I think it's clinically proven that it will help to mitigate the buildup of calcium in the arterial walls and push the calcium into the bones by taking those additional supplements.
Absolutely. Another thing simply is protein. We're talking about supplements. So let's go just to taking protein. I believe in taking about 1.5 grams of protein per pound of lean muscle mass. per day. I believe that you need higher protein, especially if you're training hard. A lot of guys don't take enough protein. When you age, your body needs even more protein. As you go to your 40s and 50s and 60s, you actually need to take more protein because your body doesn't assimilate protein as well as you age.
Absolutely. And proteins are the building blocks of muscle anyway, along with amino acids. So it's like your body will break those down into the amino acids it needs. So it's a combination of both protein intake and your essential amino acids and your branched chain amino acids and all the other things you need. They're the fundamental building blocks. As you increase your protein intake, you also increase your metabolism because it takes more calories to burn a gram of protein than it does to burn a gram of fat or carbohydrates. So it's a metabolic stimulant to increase
your protein, increase your protein to your carbohydrate. That's what I believe. Another thing is gut health. You know, we talked about in an early episode about gut health. If you're not utilizing the nutrients in your body, they're kind of just going through your system. So having proper fiber. You know, we talked about insoluble fiber and soluble fiber that you want to be able to use. You know, psyllium husk is really important. We have a really good fiber supplement that we sell to make it easy, but you can get fiber on your own. If you want to take fiber, you want to take a probiotic. You know, prebiotic, but probiotics are really important. They definitely, those are little bacteria that work to help in also utilization of nutrients. It helps with proper, protein, breaking down protein as well. There's so many benefits to taking a probiotic. I take a probiotic every day, along with, I take my proven fiber, but we have probiotics, a good fiber, digestive enzymes. And as you age, you produce less enzymes, especially if you're eating high protein meals. Guys out there that want to gain muscle, using proper digestive enzymes for protein, carbohydrates, and fats are going to be key, because without them, you're not going to be utilizing. You're going to have all that food that ends up just like going through your body, and you want to have proper digestion, utilization of those nutrients.
And it's about nutrient absorption too. It's exactly. Like you need to be able to absorb those macros, and you'll absorb those supplements, and you'll absorb whatever it's peptides, starvers, medications, anything you're taking into your system to try to help. But especially your macronutrients, especially your supplements, like gut health is imperative. And those prebiotics are going to help to make sure you get optimal absorption, because it's pointless if you don't get all of those things absorbed.
Another thing is amino acids. I have an essential amino acids, like 10 grams of amino acids, of the essential amino acids with branched chain amino acids. Everyone talks about BCAAs, but you want to have the essential amino acids as well. Really important. Another thing is because they're broken down, they're much easier to use. I like using my essential amino acids pre-training, intra-training, post-training. So I can take 30 grams of essential amino acids per day when I'm training, especially. I have a product called Sizon, and I'm not here to do a commercial on all the products, but what's great about this product and why I designed this product, it's a combination of essential amino acids, 13 grams of essential amino acids. It has carbohydrates, so fast, medium, and slow carbohydrate. What happens when you're training? You're using glycogen.
Absolutely.
So you want to replenish that glycogen. So we have a carbohydrate that converts to glucose and then goes into the muscle as glycogen. So that anabolic window is so important that you want to be able to have that glucose during your training. And it's easily digested. We have a combination of dextrose, glucose, and cluster dextrin. So 3 different types of carbohydrates. Then I add creatine. Again, creatine into that supplement, 5 grams of creatine, again, is going to help. And then you have electrolytes. Electrolytes are essential for muscle contraction. You want to make sure you're getting, we talked about earlier, in the start of the day, you talked about taking a natural sea salt. Which one do you use?
I use a Baja Gold sea salt.
Baja Gold is really great. You take a pinch in your water. Now you're getting not only the magnesium, the potassium, the sodium, but you're getting all those other elemental, boron and all the different minerals that are out there that,
all the essential minerals that
trace minerals that you're going to get in that sea salt. So it's really important to take a pinch of that through the day. So you do a quarter of a teaspoon.
I do a quarter of a teaspoon in the morning and wash it down to start my day. You feel amazing after you take it too.
So I
mineralize, rehydrate.
Exactly. So we have it in our products. Our amino acids are we call proven EAAs, which are 10 grams of amino acids. We actually put Himalayan sea salt in there as well. So people are like, wow, you got sodium in all your products. Yes, sodium is essential. You want to take sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium. You want to take all the essential electrolytes when you're training. If you're training hard, And, it was proven that the guys who invented Gatorade, they were finding out that these guys were sweating and they couldn't perform. And they found out, why was their performance going down so low? Because they were losing the electrolytes.
Absolutely. No, sugar is more the boogeyman than salt is.
Soft sugar is horrible. Like white sugar is a no-no.
Absolutely.
If you want to be healthy, guys, eliminate sugars. A really bad one is high fructose corn syrup. That is a poison in your body. If you want to stay healthy, all the effects with heart health and diabetes, that product that's found in a lot of the soft drinks products, look for that high fructose corn syrup. If it's in there, throw it away.
Absolutely.
Other supplements, what do you suggest? We talk about creatine, glutamine, essential amino acids, protein, good multivitamin, multi-mineral, vitamin D. We talked about with vitamin K.
Absolutely, a fish oil supplement for sure.
Fish oil if you want something to bring down, let's talk about inflammation. When you're training, you want to bring down inflammation. So a good fish oil that has high DHA and EPA. You got to remember, when you're getting a fish oil, there's a lot of cheap fish oils that are crap, that have very low DHA and EPA. You look at, it's ALA, DHA and EPA, and you want to have high DHA and EPA in those fish oils.
Absolutely. You want something that's also screened for mercury as well. He's also have issues with heavy metals. But no, you have a benefit to your cholesterol, benefits to inflammation. Fish oil in general is just a wildly effective and important supplement for anybody.
I always use fish oils in my diet. I like to use other anti-inflammatory supplements. Turmeric, really great supplement to bring down inflammation. A lot of guys don't use it, but as you age, especially when you get older, you have higher inflammation in your body. So you want to be able to control the inflammation in your body. Anything else you think about in supplements? Let's talk about some of the natural test boosters. A young kid can take D-aspartic acid. Name some of them. A lot of them as well. Vitamin D, zinc, D-aspartic acid, fenugreek.
It's important, especially after all the episodes where we talk about, taking testosterone or anabolic steroids or things like that. For these young guys who are just getting started, there's no need to take anabolic steroids and testosterone. Natural testosterone boosters and supplements will help to support your natural production, especially these young guys who are new to the gym, high school kids, college kids. Like, anabolic steroids are not for you. It's like there's so much opportunity to take a lot of natural testosterone.
That's why you can take a lot of the natural testosterone that, they're out there. They'll raise it slightly. You ain't going to raise it like you're taking testosterone or like taking steroids, but they will have a slight raise on the natural testosterone.
Well, and as popular as all of these different, drugs, disarms, all these things are that help to produce these desired outcomes, it makes the most sense, especially for young athletes, to get as much mileage as they can out of their natural production before they mess with it. And these natural testosterone products, combined with quality supplementation, good training, proper nutrition, adequate rest, you can make a huge amount of gains before you have to touch any kind of pharmaceutical product.
And you just talked about proper nutrition, making sure you're eating a healthy diet. If you're a natty, you can't be sitting there eating McDonald's and, drinking milkshakes and drinking high fructose corn syrup. Drink plenty of water. Make sure you're getting a high quality protein. We talked about getting 1.5 grams per pound of lean muscle mass. Getting complex carbohydrates. Do not eliminate carbohydrates. People think carbohydrates are bad. I eat plenty of, we talked about what's the difference between brown rice and white rice. I eat white rice. Absolutely. I eat white rice as well. And why do you feel that the benefit of, because people are like, oh, brown rice is better. It's got the fiber in it and a lot of the nutrients. Why do you feel that white rice is just as beneficial?
Well, I think there's a fixation on the glycemic index. A lot of people say like it has a slightly higher spike when it comes to insulin, but it's like, white rice is much less inflammatory. There's all kinds of potential. Brown rice has a litany of different issues. Like all of the science seems to point in the direction of eating white rice. Also, the people who eat white rice in those countries have greater longevity, better overall health, and less cardiac issues. So I think the minor difference in glycemic index between brown and white rice, it's complete.
I mean, you can have once in a while, quinoa is another good good carbohydrate to use. Small amounts of fruits. I always eat banana. I eat about a banana a day, but I do eat some, I eat an apple. I do have some berries. I like having blueberries, strawberries, especially when they're seasonal, that I use through the day. Not tons of it, but it's better taking a natural fruit than sitting there eating, ice cream and, sherbet and, all kinds of other sugar.
Absolutely. Well, your body needs sugar anyway. Your brain needs sugar to function.
Exactly.
Processing sugar to fire. It's like, so carbohydrates are not, is the type of carbohydrates you take in the ratio as well. It's like if you have your macros, in favor of primarily proteins, you'll be fine. It's like, and if you eat the right carbs, you'll be awesome.
Another thing is that taboo in not eating eggs, whole eggs. I've changed my diet. Listen, I was known to eat like 20 egg whites a day. I'm eating 5 to 6 to 7 whole eggs a day, and I'm super lean right now. The eggs have so many nutrients in the yolk that you're getting natural B vitamins, the natural fats. The cholesterol from eggs do not equate to getting cholesterol in your bloodstream to where it's going to raise your cholesterol.
It doesn't seem to correlate at all. I mean, they say that eggs are nature's multivitamin.
Exactly.
Tons of value. There's protein. The eggs are not the boogeyman. Like if you look at all the traditional education on what to eat versus not to eat, it's like animal fats or lots of red meat. All of those things have kind of been blown away.
It's unbelievable. You have now someone like Robert Kennedy that runs Health and Human Services, the FDA. He's over there. He's cooking a turkey in beef tallow. It used to be like they're cooking in like peanut oil or a vegetable oil. Vegetable oil, the worst to use. You should stay away from any type of. Flaxseed oil is a great seed oil.
That's probably the only exception.
The only exception is chia seeds is another exception that you could take. But then you don't.
It's also in small dosages too.
Yes, you use it in small dosage because those are omega-6s. You want to make sure omega-3s are higher than your omega-6s when it comes to your omegas.
But the beef tallow movement, I think, it's also starting to bleed over into fast foods. You're starting to see some of these fast food chains starting to buy stuff in beef tallow. I think.
What would they use that? But whether it's corn oil.
I think it depends on the restaurant, but it's probably whatever the cheapest vegetable oil was or sea oil that they could come across. But yeah, as soon as Robert Kennedy got involved, you start seeing this movement towards beef tallow. There's a lot of like chip products that are out there that are just potatoes and sea salt and beef tallow. It's like, you're finding more and more people moving away from these seed oils. If you hear guys, like for instance, say guys like Gary Brecka talk about how a seed oil is actually produced, and how they have to make it rancid, and how they bleach it, and how all of them the same color, and how like the very like chemical process in which they arrive at the finished product seed oil that ends up on the shelf, you would never touch it. So it's like it really is, it's a poisonous. Yeah.
So any seed oils, stay away from seed oils. If you want to be a natty and you want to stay healthy, you want to do this in a natural where you're gaining muscle, but you're also doing it in a healthy way. Stay away. I eat steak. I eat steak every day. The fats from steak are healthy. Now it used to be don't eat steak. Now you can eat steak.
No, absolutely.
But also natural fish, salmon, great to eat. But I don't eat the farm-raised salmon.
The wild-caught salmon.
Yeah, wild-caught salmon, because you are getting a worse type of fish when you're eating like the ones in farm-raised.
But really, just the diversity of proteins is also important too. And it's like, but just it's really making sure your macros are adequate, prioritizing protein, mitigating processed foods, having natural fiber, the appropriate supplementation. Like it comes down to, especially if you're a natural athlete, you have to make all the right decisions, because things like seed oils, things like processed foods, things like
it will also bring inflammation, correct?
Well, not only will they increase inflammation, but they can suppress natural testosterone and increase estrogen. So all the things you don't want to have happen as a natural athlete, you can mitigate a lot of those just through your nutritional decisions.
Staying away from like seed oils, eating more natural products that increase or decrease the benefits of or decrease inflammation.
More whole foods.
Yeah, whole foods. By eating more whole foods, staying away from processed food, refined carbohydrates, you're going to be much healthier to be able to make great gains if you're a natty. Let's talk about some more advanced techniques to increase performance. But one of them is a simple thing, is proper sleep. A lot of guys just don't sleep enough. They don't get their proper sleep. I'm one of those victims that it's hard for me to sleep, 8 hours a day. But if you do sleep more, if you're definitely an athlete, you want to make sure you get a nice amount of sleep.
Well, sleep is just as important as the issue you raised earlier when it comes to overtraining. Like if you train 7 days a week, you only grow when you rest. And that means the days that you don't train, and sleep is part of your recovery and rest as well. So going to sleep, getting adequate sleep, your body produces natural growth hormone. It reduces inflammation. Like if you can get a solid 8 hours of sleep, your body's able to recover and augment your training. Your muscles are able to recover. So sleep is an essential component for progression in the gym.
So here's some more advanced principles. Natural red light therapy. What do you think of red light therapy?
The more I read about it, the more I learn about it, the more they study it, the better it seems to be. It's like there is a lot of value for recovery. There's a lot of value, it seems, when it comes to skin elasticity and collagen production. it seems now that it can actually have an improvement on the function of your retinas. Like every day I see some new thing that it does that's fantastic. So it seems that the red light therapy, from the standpoint of both, not only from an athletic performance standpoint, but for sure from longevity standpoint, the red light therapy not only has shown it has a ton of scientific benefits, but it keeps new, discoveries keep happening every day about its value.
So it's good. I mean, I done a little bit of red light therapy. I like to get just a red light chamber and just. How long do you stay in, with red light therapy? Do you know? Or
I think a lot of times it's like the exposure is based on the the duration. I mean, it's a time issue, like 10, 20 minutes. It's like they have red light saunas, they have red light lamps, they have red light lamps. There's so many different options. I think it
helps with hair loss. They have these red lights that you wear this hat that's got this red. I don't know if it works, but.
What certainly seems to help with skin elasticity, it seems very low collagen production, so it would make sense that the things that help with collagen may also have if it affects your skin health, it may also have an impact on
I thought it was a gimmick, but I see these hats that that glow red light. I'm like, does that really work? So, but I mean, they're finding more and more research that red light therapy is a thing that helps, with recovery and repair and all these things that if you're a natural bodybuilder.
I think it certainly is something you can add to your arsenal. That goes along with things like your the benefits of your cold and heat shock protein. You had talked a lot earlier. We were discussing, your cold plunge. You do the cold plunge, and I think that's what we're probably addressing.
I mean, there's cryotherapy. You can go in this. They're a lot more expensive, and they have these rooms that you go into, and it's like this real cold room that you got to wear actually gloves because you could get like frostbite. But it really it made it a lot easier. I just go into the cold plunge. It's like 42-degree water, and I felt amazing in there. Believe it or not, I mean, just to do it at first is very difficult to go in 42-degree wet water. But I've seen this benefit that if you could stay in there at least 3 minutes, the benefits far outweigh the uncomfortable feeling that you get, because when you get out of there, you have this euphoric feel. I think you were explaining some of the benefits that actually being in a cold plunge that it has.
Well, no, the cold shock proteins seem to have a lot of value. It's like whenever you expose your body to something extreme, it seems to, it helps to mitigate inflammation. There's also a certain degree of intestinal fortitude that it generates when you're able to tolerate that kind of cold for, 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Also, it seems to be there's a huge dopamine rush afterwards. You explained how you felt afterward. It was like almost euphoria coming out of the cold plunge. And I think that, that has a profound benefit. I have seen that it's best to cold plunge on non-training days or eat sauna on non-training days, just, overtax your system and increase cortisol. There is a diminishing return, like with everything. I think if you overdo anything, especially taxing your body, there can be a downside. But it seems like on your off days, the cold plunge, and regular heat sauna both have real value.
I mean, I definitely feel something with heat saunas, red light therapy. I've tried cold plunges. I felt like I set a euphoric feeling when I got done with it. It was almost addictive. Like I wanted to, once you start doing cold plunges, it's funny because there's a place actually in New Jersey that I go to, and it's like the amount of people that go to do that because they have that same, euphoric feel after they get done, that they all say the same thing.
Well, it's also a challenge. It takes some actual fortitude to tolerate that temperature for that amount of time. So it's like you've actually accomplished something by being able to handle that 42-degree water for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes.
So you live here in Florida. I live in New Jersey, and we have something in mid-February called the Polar Bear Club. So I live near the Jersey Shore, and we have this. I hadn't done it, but going into the ocean when it's like 40 degrees, it's jumping in and jumping out.
You're prepared for it now.
Yeah, now I can do it. I haven't done it. I was like, I missed it last time because I was on travels. I said, shit, I wanted to do it because I know that I could do it.
We'll put that on your bucket list for this winter, though.
Yeah, another time. I may be in Florida by then. I don't know if I'll be here. But anything else you want to add to, how we can just naturally enhance performance?
I think all the main points for anyone who's trying to achieve better physique and build muscle naturally, it's like there's plenty of things to focus on. I think it all comes down to the core components: training but not overtraining, adequate rest,
yes,
appropriate supplementation, adequate, clean nutrition, the core components of whether you're natural or not. All of those things are relevant regardless.
So, I mean, there you go. There's so much to do, but just paying attention to your body. You know, a lot of guys just think to do this haphazardly. You got to have a connection with your body. Like, you know, I trade, like I said, 5 days a week. My diet is on point. You know, plenty of water also, stay hydrated.
Oh, for sure.
You know, getting your electrolytes. All these things are so important. Just people tend to, like, you know, they go out, they start drinking, they do all these, you know, bad things to your body. Like, I rarely drink. I mean, not that I'm a saint. I do have times that I drink alcohol, but really, it's not something I do regularly.
Well,
it's like, you feel like it counteracts everything I've done.
It absolutely does. And the older you get, the worse your body processes.
Exactly.
So 1 or 2, and you feel terrible the next day. You gotta train, your endurance is gone. You don't feel good. You have brain fog. It's like, I barely drink as well. And I think the older you get, the less apt you are to drink if you want to try to maintain your fitness.
Exactly. It's like, you know, I feel so good, and then I go out, especially, you know, I own a company and I got to go to meetings, and then I got to, you know, entertain customers, and, you know, they're like, oh, let's drink. And I'm like, I don't want to drink. That's right. I'll fake it. like I'm drinking, but I don't drink. You know, rarely I drink. But, you know, you want to stay healthy. You know, if you want to, you know, enhance performance, there's so many things that you need to do. Naturally, it is harder, but you can do it. And a lot of natty guys out there do it. Another thing is just, you know, natty guys that have great genetics, they're able to do it because they just have great genetics.
Absolutely. Even if you don't have great genetics, and especially if you're a younger guy, it's way better to optimize and maximize your own natural potential.
Exactly.
And all of these things will help to magnify the benefits you'll get in the gym. So do all of these things first,
yes,
before you ever touch any kind of, you know, medication, steroid, SARM, anything like that. Like, utilize all of these resources first, maximize your natural potential before you go down any other road.
And that's the thing. If you can maximize your natural performance, you know, through all these methods, to make much better gains. And then if you do happen to then go to the dark side, you're already at that point that, you know, you've done everything you could to get the best you could make naturally.
Well, you built a baseline too, and you already have all the best habits. Then it's like when you add that, it's just like a supercharger on top of an already performance motor. It's like you're just going to get way better outcomes. But you still need the same building blocks, regardless of whether you're natty or not.
And people don't understand that. You know, I see these young guys, as soon as they start training, they're like, we're going to get the trend. Rather than when they go on the trend, you know, it's like, what are you doing going on trend? Like, just get to the gym, eat right. And they don't want to spend money on food. They don't want to buy protein powder. I'm like, if you can't eat properly, you know, protein powder is a substitute for food. I'm not saying to buy my protein powder, but if you have a difficulty in eating, a protein powder is just easy. It's just convenient.
What guys get your protein?
You can get 50 grams of protein, 2 scoops of protein. You're drinking it, boom, you get a meal. Sometimes it's hard to, like, let me find some chicken or let me find a steak, or so that's why I use protein powder. It's not I'm pushing to use my protein powder or any brand that has protein powder. You use it because it's a convenience factor.
Well, the reality is that these are dietary supplements, which are designed to supplement.
Exactly, supplement.
So it's like you can't get 10 grams of creatine from beef. I mean, you can,
yeah, but you're going to eat a lot of beef.
You're going to eat 400 grams of protein. So it's
and the guys that don't believe in supplements, you're full of shit. You need supplements. Creatine, as you just said, there's no way you're going to get 10 grams of creatine. You can eat a friggin' half a cow. You're not going to get 10 grams of creatine. You're not going to get the glutamine. These natural supplements will help you and enhance the effects of what your body is. Guys that are like, I don't want to take any supplements at all. And, you know, I get these trainers, these smart-ass trainers that are like, I don't believe in any supplements at all. You're not going to get all the nutrients from foods alone. You need to supplement your diet. Of course, you want to eat well-rounded in a healthy diet. But if you're on a low-carb diet, your body's not going to be able to get all the nutrients from eating a low-carb diet. So then you want to make sure you have, you know, fiber in your diet. You want to make sure you're getting certain supplements that you can't get because you're not eating all, you know, well-rounded.
Well, the thing is, too, is that supplements are for people who want to be extraordinary, not just ordinary. So if you want to make progress, if you want to make gains, if you want to do something substantial, if you want to build muscle, like you want to be exceptional, you're going to need supplements to be able to accomplish that, whether they're natural or not. You're not going to be able to make the progress that you want without supplements.
And, you know, it's funny. I got into the supplement business not because I wanted to make money. I got it because I believe in supplements. I believe, you know, I was passionate about supplements, that they knew that they helped me back in the day to make me better than my competitors. So then I really started doing research and said, shit, creatine really does work. This was before anyone wanted to use creatine. I was using creatine. I was using glutamine. These supplements that no one would take, extra, back then it was different because, beef liver, we use, ground up beef liver, which have a lot of B vitamins and things that you can't get naturally just eating. I would use that. So there's a lot of benefits in using supplements, but they are supplements. They're not to replace food.
That's exactly right. So the foundation is quality nutrition, quality training, adequate rest, appropriate supplementation, and then off to the races you go.
And there you have it. Another great episode of Beyond the Muscle. Thank you again.
Pleasure, Rich.
It's always great to have you on the show. And for you guys out there, if you like the show, please comment. Give us what you want us to show you. If you want any type of show that you want us to bring up, let us know. Subscribe. And that's a great episode of Beyond the Muscle. Rich Gaspari, over and out.